Bonnie Parker, America's infamous outlaw Bonnie Parker, one half of the infamous duo Bonnie and Clyde, became one of the most recognized female gangsters in American history. Born in 1910, she married Roy Thornton at a young age, but their marriage ended shortly after. In 1930, Bonnie met Clyde Barrow, and the two immediately hit it off. Their partnership led to a crime spree involving bank robberies, shootouts, and murders. They quickly became symbols of rebellion during the Great Depression, as their daring escapes and media attention elevated them to infamous outlaws. Bonnie, who was often depicted as the innocent companion, was just as involved in the crimes as Clyde. Bonnie and Clyde's notoriety was solidified by photographs taken during their time in hiding, showcasing the romanticized outlaw image that would later become part of American folklore. Their crime spree lasted for 4 years before the law finally caught up with them. On May 23, 1934, both Bonnie and Clyde were ambushed and killed by police in Bienville Parish, Louisiana, ending their reign of terror. Despite the violence, Bonnie's legacy as a symbol of female criminality remains, and her image continues to inspire films, books, and songs about America's most notorious criminals. Bonnie's involvement in numerous murders and robberies made her one of the deadliest women in the history of American crime, and her tragic end, alongside Clyde, cemented their place in criminal folklore. Rafaela de Alterio, godmother of the Camorra Rafaela de Alterio, known as the Big Kitten, became one of the most feared and powerful women in the Camorra, the infamous Naples-based mafia. After the murder of her husband, Nicola Pianese, in 2000, she took control of the family's criminal operations. Rafaela was not just a figurehead. She quickly demonstrated a ruthless ability to lead the Camorra's extensive operations, which included drug trafficking, money laundering, extortion, and murder. Her leadership allowed the Camorra to thrive, making a fortune in illegal drug trade and other illicit businesses. Despite her low profile, Rafaela's power was undeniable, and she was responsible for numerous homicides over the years. Her gang, known for violence and terror, became a dominant force not only in Italy but internationally, working with Russian, Ukrainian, and Serbian mafias. Rafaela's arrest in 2012 was the result of a military operation by the Italian authorities, who seized assets worth over $10 million. However, the exact scale of her operations remains a mystery, with some estimates suggesting that her gang was responsible for more than 40 murders in the past 3 decades. Despite being captured, Rafaela's legacy in the world of organized crime remains firmly cemented, as her rise to power showcases how women have become integral figures in some of the most dangerous and ruthless criminal organizations. Oppo McTracklong, the caregiver turned gangster. Oppo McTracklong, better known as Mac Truck, was a key figure in the infamous John Dillinger gang during the early 1930s. Born in Texas, McTracklong was initially brought into the crime world through her relationship with Rosso Clark, Dillinger's associate. While she was known for her compassionate nature, she was a pivotal part of the gang, cooking meals and offering emotional support to gang members, including Dillinger himself. However, her involvement in the gang escalated over time as she became deeply involved in bank robberies and violent shootouts. McTracklong's devotion to Dillinger saw her attempting to secure money to pay for her husband's legal defense after his arrest in 1934, showing her loyalty to the gang. But her increasing demands and attempts to take control of the operation led to tensions within the group. By 1934, McTracklong's involvement became too risky, and she was eventually expelled from the organization. However, her brief yet intense time in the world of bank heists and violent crime left a lasting mark on the criminal world. Her story is a unique example of how women in the 1930s could rise within criminal syndicates. Despite her initial role as a caretaker, McTracklong's transition into a full-fledged gangster revealed the extent to which gangs like Dillinger's needed more than just physical strength. They also relied on loyalty and strategic support, areas where McTracklong thrived. Anna Christina, human trafficker turned outlaw. Anna Christina was the leader of a notorious human trafficking ring that operated across Europe. In 2012, she became infamous when she was arrested for her involvement in a sex trafficking operation that exploited young women for profit. Initially, she downplayed her role, claiming she only operated a dating service. However, as the investigation progressed, it was revealed that Christina ran one of the most brutal and dangerous trafficking operations in the region. Her operation, which spanned multiple countries, made her a multi-millionaire, raking in over $10 million from illegal activities. Christina's arrest was the culmination of years of undercover work by law enforcement and human rights groups. Despite her claims of innocence, Christina was convicted and sentenced to 6 months in prison and 5 years of probation. Her actions highlighted the rise of female criminals in the underworld, showing that women, despite societal norms, can rise to power in organized crime just as ruthlessly as their male counterparts. Ma Barker, the Mafia's first female leader known as the matriarch of the infamous Barker Karpus gang. Ma Barker was one of the first women to actively lead a criminal organization in American history. Ma Barker became a key figure in organized crime during the 1920s and 1930s. She was not just the mother of notorious criminals, but a strategic force in drug trafficking, smuggling, and even bank robberies. Her leadership came after her sons became involved in multiple bank heists, and she quickly adapted to the ruthless world of organized crime. Ma Barker was known for recruiting women into the gang, training them to handle guns, drug trafficking, and how to survive in a violent underworld. Despite her arrest in 1927 and her brief incarceration, she remained a symbol of how women could control and lead criminal enterprises. Her ability to manage the gang, making strategic decisions from behind the scenes, solidified her as a pioneer for women in the criminal world. Although Ma Barker's reign ended in 1935 when she was killed in a police shootout, her legacy lived on. The criminal empire she helped orchestrate continues to be a defining example of how women have played vital roles in the history of American organized crime. Sandra Avila Beltran, the Queen of Pacific Drug Cartels. Sandra Avila Beltran, known as La Reina del Pacifico, the Queen of the Pacific, is one of the most infamous female drug lords in the history of the Mexican drug trade. Born in 1960, Sandra became one of the most powerful figures in the Sinaloa cartel, where she controlled the distribution of cocaine and heroin between South America and the United States. She also had a network that extended across Europe. Known for her calm demeanor and business savvy, Avila became a significant player in the cartel world. Her ability to maintain connections with law enforcement officials, politicians, and other cartels made her a highly respected and feared figure. In 2007, she was arrested for drug trafficking and money laundering, with a $5 million ransom placed on her son's head during the investigation. However, her association with the Sinaloa cartel and underworld ties remained intact even after her conviction. In the end, her criminal career marked her as one of the most influential and dangerous female gangsters in Latin American history. Despite being cleared of several charges, Avila remains a controversial figure in the world of organized crime. She serves as a reminder that women can hold extraordinary power in the often male-dominated world of drug trafficking. Jamaica Thompson, the Queenpin of L.A. Jamaica Thompson, also known as the Queenpin, became one of the most powerful figures in the Los Angeles drug trade during the 1980s. Born and raised in poverty, Jamaica had a tough upbringing that pushed her to engage in criminal activities from an early age. She initially started by selling small amounts of crack cocaine, but quickly expanded her operations. By the late 1980s, she controlled one of the largest drug trafficking networks in LA, alongside her husband, Anthony Mosley. After Mosley's death in a gang-related shooting, Jamaica took control of the business and continued expanding her empire. She became notorious for her ruthlessness and brutality toward anyone who threatened her power. Her operation focused on crack cocaine distribution within the United States, and she reportedly earned millions annually. Jamaica had a vast network of street-level dealers, suppliers, and enforcers, making her a powerful figure in the underground criminal world. However, Jamaica's empire came to an end when she was caught by law enforcement after several years of avoiding capture. In 1997, she was arrested and later sentenced to 15 years in a high-security facility. Despite her arrest, Jamaica's story remains a prominent example of a female gangster who rose from humble beginnings to control a massive drug operation in one of the most dangerous cities in the world. Palma Wright, from widow to cartel boss. After the assassination of her husband, Jackie Wright, in 1986, Palma Wright took control of one of the most powerful drug cartels in Philadelphia. Jackie Wright had been a key player in the drug trade before his death, and after his murder, Palma quickly rose to power, taking over the family's business of smuggling drugs from Los Angeles to Philadelphia. Her transition into the world of organized crime was not easy, but Palma's determination and sharp business mind made her an effective cartel boss. Her most defining moment came in 1991, when she was involved in a gunfight that would ultimately alter her life and lead to her decision to leave the drug trade. Palma successfully ran the family's drug empire during this tumultuous time and was involved in multiple high-level negotiations to ensure the survival of her operations. However, after the shooting incident, Palma reevaluated her position and decided to leave the dangerous world of drug trafficking for a safer life. Despite her retirement from the cartel, Palma Wright remains one of the most notorious female gangsters, with her rise to power illustrating the resilience and leadership that many women in organized crime possess. Evelyn Billy Freshett. The devoted partner Evelyn Billy Freshett was a prominent figure in the criminal world during the 1930s and gained notoriety for her involvement with the famous John Dillinger gang. Billy Freshett met John Dillinger, one of the most infamous criminals in American history, and quickly became one of his most trusted allies. She became his partner in crime, assisting him in robberies, getaway schemes, and even hiding out during the gang's frequent escapes from law enforcement. While her initial role was that of a devoted girlfriend, Billy quickly adapted to the criminal lifestyle. She was involved in several robberies and shootouts, showing a level of courage and cunning that made her a valuable member of the gang. Her loyalty to Dillinger was unquestionable, and she was arrested in 1933 for harboring a fugitive and aiding in Dillinger's escape. After Dillinger's death in 1934, Billy Freshett faced 2 years in prison and was later released in 1936. She transitioned from her criminal past into a more legitimate career, using her notoriety to build a workshop format for women like herself, turning her life around. Her criminal background remains a highlight in the stories of female gangster history, and her legacy as Dillinger's partner is still remembered in the annals of American crime. Erlene Brickman. The Jewish mobster born in 1933 to a Jewish family in East Harlem, Erlene Brickman grew up idolizing the excitement and glitz of the criminal world. As a number runner, loan shark, and drug user, she was quickly drawn into the underworld of organized crime. While she was originally seen as an outsider due to her Jewish heritage, she soon gained acceptance within the Sicilian-run crime organizations, showing the world that mob life could transcend cultural boundaries. Erlene Brickman's association with the mob helped her secure a significant financial position, though she was not immune to the dangers that came with the lifestyle. Eventually, she became involved in espionage, providing law enforcement with critical information about her fellow mobsters. She became an informant and played a crucial role in the downfall of some of the most influential members of the mob. Her actions led to the conviction of several high-profile figures, including Anthony Scarpati and others involved in racketeering. However, Brickman's espionage also led to her exile from the criminal world, marking a controversial and pivotal chapter in the history of female gangsters. Her story is a prime example of how women in crime could rise to power and then manipulate the system from within.